So now that we have the premise of the taker story on the table, that humans belong to the world and not that the world belongs to us, right? What does that mean? Okay. And so this is, and I want to go back to, and I mean this is, pardon me. I think this is still chapter 12. Just want to make sure that that's correct. Yeah, chapter 12. I want to go to section 10. And this is where we go all the way back to captivity. Okay. We go back to captivity, which is the main. Excuse me. Sorry, just felt like a stretch. Uh, we go back to captivity, which is the main thing that Ishmael teaches on, right? And so what does this have to do now with where we're at? Okay. The world of the takers is a vast prison. And except for a handful of levers scattered across the world, the entire human race is now inside that prison. During the last century, every remaining lever people in North America was given a choice to be exterminated or to accept imprisonment. Many chose imprisonment, but not many actually capable of adjusting to prison life. Okay. Now, again, when they're using this term prison, it's kind of the cultural prison. It's mother cultural prison. The idea that we are captives of this story, that we are unshakably entrenched in this way of thinking, that we are imprisoned in ways of thinking that, well, this is how things came to be this way, this is how things are, they can't change, so we must accept them as they are. Okay? And then in section 11, and I really hope that you read this, there's one significant difference that makes there's one significant difference between the inmates of your criminal prisons and the inmates of your cultural prison. The former understand the distribution, blah blah blah. In your cultural prison, which inmates have the power? The male inmates, especially the white male inmates. That's right. But you understand that these white male inmates are indeed inmates, but not warders. For all their power and privilege, for all they lord it over everyone else in that prison, not one of them has the key that will unlock the gate. Remember that this book was written in 1990, 1991. Okay? Also note that this book doesn't really reference many characters, especially many like actual living, real characters. Okay? In section 11, chapter 12, we have one reference of somebody that was living, is living, and it's the following. For all their power and privilege, from all they lorded over everyone else in the prison, not one of them has the key that will unlock the gate. Yes, that's true. Donald Trump can do a lot of things I can't, but he can no more get out of the prison than I can. My margin notes say holy shit. Just for the fact that it's wildly amazing that the one person that they use to demonstrate power and privilege in reference to taker mentality, written back in 1990, is our current president in 2019. It's just, that's pretty funny. Okay? Donald Trump can do a lot of things that I can't, but he can no more get out of the prison than I can. That we are so entrenched in this kind of way of thinking of power and privilege and specialness as takers that it's really, really difficult to escape that. Okay? And so what do we do? Right? What do we do? And here is where Ishmael, I think earlier on, says something to the effect of, what we can do is we can tell 3 people what we've been taught. Right? And those 3 people can tell other 3 people of what has been taught. Okay? The idea of this kind of pay it forward kind of mentality. That we tell others about this way of thinking, about kind of, trying to rid ourselves of the taker mentality, adopting a more kind of lever mentality, if that's even possible, to accepting the fact that we belong to the world that the world does not belong to us? And kind of what framework might that change for us in how we live our lives? Okay. And then, end of the book. Ishmael's gone. He died. Sorry. And remember the sign at the start of the book. With man gone, with humans gone, will there be hope for gorilla? On the back of the sign, it said, with gorilla gone, will there be hope for humans? Right? Because the gorilla, Ishmael, provided us this outlook. He provided us this avenue. He provided us this lens to change our way of thinking. And without that kind of challenge, without that way of considering things differently, is there hope for us? Or are we just doomed to continue to repeat the cycle after cycle after cycle of the civilizational flight that's ultimately always going to crash under the taker perspective? So what do we do? How did things come to be this way? How can things change? And how can things be different and perhaps even better?